Simon just got us in here. It is the Wishbone podcast. G-Rizen, JT Hayes, and as I recommend Uncle T changing his name to Mr. T, the ultimate badass of the 80s. Uncle T, will you take that into account?
I mean, I'll be willing to consider just about anything. I don't know if I would fit that bill to be known as Mr. T. I don't know that I could live up to the. I mean, I don't have back in the day when I was back in my softball days or whatever after high school when you had the starter kit with your number, your little charm on there, and you had all the bells and whistles. Uncle T isn't into all the chains and jewelry. I don't wear jewelry at all. So no, I don't know if I'd go for that, Holden. I don't know. Maybe G-Rizen and JT would have a thought on whether or not. Real
quick, do you have a wedding ring? Do you wear a wedding ring?
I don't know if I told you guys this or not. So I've got 2 wedding rings. I've only been married once to the same person. So I lost my original wedding ring like back in year 1. Literally lost it for like 6 months. My first son was born. He had a knack for going on to Dad's dresser the little where I put my stuff, and we thought maybe he put it down the toilet, whatever. So I lost it for like 6 months. So we go and buy a new one, and it wasn't a week after we bought a new one, the original one showed up in the couch. He headed down inside the couch. So I've actually got two wedding rings.
Oh shit! But you don't wear them both.
I don't wear either one.
You don't wear your wedding. I never bought a wedding ring.
I don't wear jewelry. I mean,
I hate rings.
I'll wear it out when I'm out and about sometimes, but yeah, my wife knows. I don't wear any jewelry. No watches, hardly nothing.
Just want to feel my hand. JT Hayes venting frustration just before we came on. It seemed like it was in jest. And before you begin, there is going to be some fireworks on this show today because all 3 of my co-hosts have football teams in the college football playoffs. I, on the other hand, went to Kansas, so I have not known what that's ever been like or even to sniff it, although they did beat Texas this year. So, JT Hayes, would you like to clear the air, or would you just like to move on and talk about the college football playoff?
No, that's all right, Dorothy. You could sit this one out. We'll talk about the college football. And I was gonna because I was inspired by that great Southerner, Mr. Brian Kelly. I was gonna speak because this week, and I have to share this with y'all, pardon me. I decided that I was going to live my true Southern self life. And I've been here in Atlanta, as y'all know, for the last 5 years. And I've been living a lie because I've been speaking like this Midwesterner, Northerner. And I went to the diner on Saturday and I ordered grits with a side of grits and a box of grits for all my kinfolk. And that woman was so happy. It was like hopscotch on pumpernickel. But yeah, so the Dogs lost, and it's going to be Georgia against Michigan, and that's going to be an interesting game. I think Let me just say this. You did not sound like a Southerner. You sounded like somebody that was on painkillers, a lot of painkillers. That's what that accent was. That was kind of impromptu. I need a little bit more work on it. Yeah. I need a little bit more work.
You need a lot more work, AJ.
Yeah.
It's more than a little.
He screwed up because he didn't say yins.
Right.
I said kinfolk, though.
You got to say yins. Yins get on through there.
You didn't even say y'all first. All right, so you have a college football thing. Yeah.
So, yeah, Georgia against Michigan. That game Saturday was not really surprising if you're a college football fan. I mean, you look at Georgia's schedule. They hadn't really been tested all season long to start the season off with Clemson, and then pretty much able to walk over all these other teams. It was a little bit concerning for the playoff in terms of if they get past Michigan for a rematch against Alabama, with just how good Alabama's offensive line looked, how good their defense played. And I don't think it sets up well for Cincinnati because I don't think Cincinnati's played a team of that caliber either. So, a lot of people expect that the national championship will now be a rematch of that game, but I don't know. Michigan looked pretty good. Granted, they were taking on Iowa. I think the only real competition they faced has been Ohio State. So the playoff is, in order for the playoff to be interesting for most of the country, I think you probably have to have something other than Georgia, Alabama, but I have to believe that's probably the most likely outcome.
G-Rizen, welcome to the show. You do have a team in this fight. Congratulations.
I do. As a Michigan fan, it's been long awaited here. Harbaugh, we would have expected it a little bit earlier, but, when I look at these 4 teams that are in it, I was kind of thinking, who has the worst offense? And I think Georgia has the worst offense of the 4 teams. So I think that doesn't match well for Michigan. With that spread being over 7, I'm interested in taking that over 7. And I was thinking today too, at 8-1 for Michigan to win the national title. If they beat Georgia, you could hedge it a little bit and take Alabama if you really wanted to. So you could literally get them at about 4-1 if you wanted to hedge them a little bit. But I think it's going to be interesting. It's New Year's Eve, so man, if Michigan here pulls off that win, that's going to be right about that time. And that's going to be it's going to be a pretty fun time around here in Michigan on New Year's Eve. If Michigan can pull that off.
All right, Uncle T, would you like to talk about the college football playoff? Before we do, though, I know you want to. G-Rizen, what is with Tom Brady, yourself, middle-aged men wearing their hats backwards? What does that do for you?
What does that do for me?
Yeah, is it just badass? Do you think it looks badass? Is it a fashion statement? Is it the hot thing to do for men in their 40s and 50s?
I'm not quite sure. I've always wore my hat backwards. I don't feel right when it's turned around the other way. I don't like the thing I don't like the visor part in my eyes. So, I think I actually enjoy hats more, like that we have the Run Pure Sports hat. I think people should be a little bit more conscious of the fact and putting little logos on the back of the hat instead of the front of the hat here. So, but I'd rather have my hat backwards than sometimes the mess you got going on up there.
Why would you share that information? That's an actually really good idea that you totally thought of when you were stoned.
That happens a lot. That's why we have safety meetings, Holden.
Yeah, I know, but that's a really good idea. I wouldn't tell anybody about it.
Well, we got to copyright the Wishbone here and go for it. Maybe
right,
we can all just get in this together.
The hats with the logos on the back. It's brilliant. But why wouldn't you just wear a hat without the brim then? So you don't have to put it in the back if you don't like. Just wear the hat without the brim.
No, it's a beanie and it just looks silly.
Okay. So it needs a tail.
It's
Uncle
like skinny
T.
jeans.
College football. I have sabotaged this one. I apologize. Actually, you know what? JT sabotaged this one with his whatever reenactment it was of a man heavily heavily hit by Vicodin. Anyways, Uncle T.
Did you give me a question?
No, I'm going to answer. Johnny AirPods is calling me right now. I'm going to pick it up, okay?
Mr. AirPods? It's Mr. AirPods to you.
Hey, Johnny AirPods, I'm actually on the phone I'm doing a show with our boys, Uncle T, G-Rizen, and JT. Would you like to say hi?
Tell his 5'4" ass to get on one of these shows.
I'll tell you why the schedule was messed, but yeah, you can. I'll say hi to the boys.
Can you hear?
Yeah.
Hello,
can
Mr.
hear him?
AirPods.
Mr. AirPods.
Yeah.
I don't even have JSU's number yet, so I feel offended that Holden's got your number and I don't.
Let me give it out to you right now, okay? Just write it down.
JSU always ghosts Uncle T.
I'll DM you.
He's going to DM him.
We don't need to give it out on a podcast.
Okay. All right. Hey, JSU, that's
He pretty much did give it out on the podcast.
Let's get JSU. Come on, man. This is crazy. JSU, cool. No problems, and I'll be watching the show. Talk to you later, dude. All right, bye. All right, that was just – I hit JSU up because we had no show today. We only had the free show, and then all of a sudden I had something pop up, but it's just JSU and Tony.
I mean, hey, G-Rizen, JT, how elite has Holden gotten to where, like, he gets messages from the suits, like right in the middle of a show, he gets like text messages just saying, hey, how you doing, Holden? Just wanted to touch base with you since we weren't doing our regular show. Just want to make sure you're doing okay today. Like, how high has he gotten? I mean,
I don't take
it's
it
incredible.
that way. I don't take it that way. I take it that he's the problem child and they're checking on him, make sure he's working. That's what I look at it as. You're being a little you're being too nice there. I look at it as the principal and assistant principal are making sure their trouble student is not screwing around.
It's a lot more entertaining. I have known Johnny AirPods for about 4 years. We've been doing shows, so we've known each other a long time for this business. I would say he's one of the best in the world. He truly is. And I keep saying this. You listen to the Up to Lock show, though, and some of the stuff he dishes out, it's ridiculous.
I don't know. I think my NBA should start getting my little core. I do cores for FanDuel on Monday and Friday here at Run Pure Sports. I don't know. My team hit 403 last night. I hit 400 and then barely even scraped the top 10. It was ridiculous. But, yeah, I've been jamming it pretty good over there. I'm going to have to give myself some kudos. I wasn't normally an NBA guy.
Yeah. Don't hurt yourself, patting yourself on the back there, G.
Yeah, hey, no way, G.
You got to take your chances. You got to take your spots when you can, man.
JT, what's been going through your head?
Am I going to finally get to talk? I want to talk first about the hat topic. I got to shit on G-Rizen. He's my guy. I hate the hat turned around backwards guy. I think it's awful. I think it's an awful look.
I mean, you eat chicken nuggets every day and macaroni and cheese.
That's incorrect because I ate lunch with BigT today because he shipped that ticket last night. And whenever he ships a ticket, Uncle T knows that text message is coming the following morning that says, "Where's the lunch crew eating at today?" It's Uncle T. It's a BigT day. So I'm like, I'm always in on BigT lunch day. So we ate at little La Rosa's place today, a little pizza place. So I did not have chicken nuggets, G-Rizen. I take offense to that.
Pizza.
But what was the original question like 20 minutes ago, Holden? You'll ask me about
something with a college football playoff, but we're past that now.
So hot take. You and I are the two on the show that don't give two shits about this college. I'm not a UC fan. I live like a half hour, maybe about 20 minutes from UC, I guess. But I'm a UK fan, so I could give two shits about UC. So I hope Alabama beats them by 41-10. And I think Georgia is going to clip Michigan probably, I'm going to say 31-24. I think there's going to be some points in the Michigan game. I think there's going to be more points than the experts think.
So, Uncle T, what's on your pizza? What kind of pizza did you have today? And what's your favorite type of pizza? Because for me, I'll either have some cheese or I'll throw some pepperoni or green peppers, tomatoes, and mushrooms with pepperoni. Delicious.
For sure, just a pepperoni and cheese guy, but I don't mind sausage. Bacon's okay. You get outside of bacon, sausage, pepperoni, probably not in on that, but yeah, pretty much those toppings. JT's just thinking of all them other toppings I'm missing out on. What do you think, JT?
I'm sorry. I'm going to pretend like I'm you and you have to wake me up when you ask me a question. What was the question again, Uncle T?
Hey, G-Rizen, what do you like on your pizza, dude?
Skip him altogether.
He probably likes pineapple. You know what, JT? You like pineapple on your pizza. You're that guy.
JT's causing trouble today.
You gotta have bacon. You gotta have some pepperoni and some mild pepperoni banana rings. Those are
those are good. That make you fart big time, though.
That's usually pretty good. Sometimes I go for the vegetable. You throw a little bit of green peppers, mushrooms. Maybe some onions on there, something like that, or maybe then you go whatever, however you feel. I don't mind the pineapple and ham either, but that's once in a while. I can handle that once in a while.
You know what I've been thinking? Maybe JT's just angry because his accent didn't work out. Maybe he really is euphoric on painkillers. Did you have a recent surgery, JT Hayes?
I think it worked out fine. First of all, you're not the arbiter of whether or not it was entertaining. The audience will let me know that. There's a lot of times when your uncultured look of life is completely dead wrong, and I'll get tweets and texts about how they liked it and they wish Holden would Just let me talk, and it's fine. So, as you know, I grew up in New York City, so I feel like a cheese pizza is just perfect all by itself. But I like meatball on it. I like pepperoni. I don't put any of the salad stuff on it. That defeats the purpose of eating delicious pizza, to try and make it healthy and bastardize it into something that it's not. So give me the meats, as they say.
For you, veggies off limits. It's just a disgusting mix, like turkey and mayo.
On a pizza, you can't do that.
Oh.
I think veggies are overrated anyway.
I know. You don't even eat veggies, do you?
Nope.
Where do you get your fiber from, Uncle T?
Fiber?
Big Newton.
Huh?
Big Newtons is what Uncle T gets.
Big Newtons.
No.
Guarantee you, he's got a crate of Fig Newtons in the side of the kitchen, ready to go.
What? I haven't even heard the word Fig Newton or whatever the hell it is. What is that? Like a cookie?
Don't lie. What is it, like a cookie? Like you don't know. Oh,
I have
my
no idea.
goodness.
The last time I saw Fig Newtons, it was on like that. What do you
Try
call
hard.
it?
Try hard.
No, it was on that movie with. You guys know I'm a movie buff. I never watch movies. Talladega Nights. Wasn't Fig Newton on the guy's car? Ricky Bobby's car, Fig Newton's? I think that's the last time I've ever seen.
I'll go look up Ricky Booby's car right now. Fig Newton, you think was on the side?
I mean, that's when JT said Fig Newton, that's what came to my mind. So, no, I don't have any of them in my pantry there, JT, if that's what you're asking.
You're like every suspect I ever interrogated.
He gets his from
the last time I saw it, that was
it was Wonder Bread.
I don't eat that.
You showed your age there big time. Just so
Uncle
you know.
T's in that
Fig
commercial
Newton?
with the frosted shredded wheat. Well, he likes it. He likes
The
it.
Tiger. There you go.
Oh God. JT's off to a rough start.
Uncle T, I don't.
Off to a great start. What are you talking about? You took a fucking nap 3 minutes in. I'm off to a great start.
Uncle T, I do not see.
You don't see it?
Fig Newton on. Doesn't mean that it might not be as a bumper sticker. I just don't see it.
I know he had Wonder Bread was his
Wonder
main
Bread.
sponsor on the show, but I thought he had Fig Newtons on there too.
And the one with the mountain lion.
I can tell you this:
me.
if you find that, JT will be very impressed at the first thing I thought of, because I don't watch movies at all either. So I don't like veggies. I don't watch movies. You guys, we didn't do it inside the studio. I saw you had Allie
real
on a
catch.
couple weeks ago. Allie even moved up just immediately right ahead of me, which I don't mind, by the way.
Well,
but
do you understand that? Can you understand that move at least?
Oh, understood it. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
you were that's we don't have a whole lot of time today, so
We got plenty of time.
I want to get to. You don't want to get to some football takes today.
We will. You got 27 minutes. I'll take. You know what? I'll just get Uncle T's takes. There'll be a whole new segment, Uncle T's takes.
That won't take very. That's when JT's going to take another nap while I'm doing my takes. He's
All
gonna
right.
take
So what's your
another nap.
deal? What's your critique or criticism or statement?
Thought you did a great job, Holden. You're very professional. You didn't let your guard down. You didn't let your emotions get to you. I think it was very, very well done.
Thank you, Uncle T. My girlfriend, my girlfriend enjoyed it too. She said it was wonderful.
You only made her feel uncomfortable like 3 or 4 times, which I thought I had way over that. But
Correct.
You did very well. You contained yourself very well.
We
I
talked.
was
We set
impressed.
some
I
guidelines.
even told Big T I put a compliment
Yeah.
with.
Thanks, Uncle T.
In that situation, she was a bunny in a lion's cage, and the lion laid there nice and calm. And
I was nice
didn't
and
mess with her.
relaxed. Yep, I'd eaten.
We love Allie, by the way.
I was full. I'm very content. So, you'd like to talk some football, Uncle T?
I mean, we got any other we can talk some other topics.
yeah,
JT might have something
now.
on his peanut there.
Speak now or forever hold your peace for this show, and then it's football time. Yes, JT. JT, let me ask you something here.
Yes.
Could you grow hair on your head if you wanted
yeah.
to? Yes.
Yeah.
And what would it look like? What do you look like with hair on your head?
Yeah, so that's the problem. The problem is what it would look like, right? Because I can't grow a full head of hair, but I could grow like a halo. Like a halo. I could probably do that, right? I could do that. But more importantly, look at this head.
Yes.
Look at this head. It's the perfect shape. It's the perfect shape. So
It's wonderfully shaped.
why am I concerned about hair? Hair is the elixir of the devil. I don't need it. It's terrible. And my life has been great without it. I've been like this for, I don't know, 21, 22 years. And things have worked out pretty well.
Did you ever have long hair?
I did not.
Never had long
He
hair.
said I did not.
No.
Never. And I will say you're right. You have a wonderfully shaped head. I never really thought about it till you said it. Now I notice it. It's the perfect shape.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. The perfect skull.
Perfect skull. G-Rizen, do you have a full head of hair?
Yes, sir.
Can I tell you something? Uncle T does too, right? You got a
He
full
looks
head.
like G-Rizen looks turn the hat around the way you should. You almost look like Jim Harbaugh.
I don't know about that.
Do you have one of them whistles you can put around your neck? You know how he always comes out in warm-ups. He's got the old whistle like you do back in
Get my
grade
khakis
school.
out.
Go
Get
run
my
and get a
khakis,
whistle.
my
Go
black
run away.
shoes.
The whistle he's got out, like a 5th and 6th grade football league. You got the
I
whistle
need
out.
glasses. I need to
Run
get
and
my
get a
glasses
whistle
out.
while Uncle T
You
gets
look
his
so
food.
much better with the hat looking like that. You look real good.
Man, I think Uncle T wants some hugs today. I mean, he's been complimenting everybody.
I got to get my
today.
hair cut. I missed it today. I got to get
I
all
don't
this
know.
gray cut out.
There's not many guys our age with full head of hair. It's
Yeah,
impressive,
mine's all
guys.
gray. So I've got it. It's just gray. A lot of
This
gray.
is a good hair crew and JT, but a very good.
if I colored mine Holden like you, I could get it to slick back.
I haven't
yours.
colored it in 10 months, dude.
You told me you did.
Oh, I told you I did not. 10 months now.
Yeah. Move away. You got to move away. That's
see it?
not what we want to see right
See all the
this second.
gray?
Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's not a good.
just not
visual.
gray in the front yet.
He doesn't
Just-
even have kids yet. Wait till, I mean, I got 19 and 16-year-old daughter. Wait till that shit happens. I mean, damn. I mean, wait till they get older and run in the streets, Holden, then you'll have some.
I'm
you'll
pretty
get some,
sure that I'm going to be the one that they come to when they're angry and they could just chill out and relax.
That's the way it is at my house.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
sounds good to me.
It's not usually too high strung around here.
Not too high strung. No. You and your safety meetings.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's getting
I would
colder
like
to have
to-
safety meetings, though.
Yeah.
Hey, JT, I got a question thing about weather. We saw a pretty nice tweet you sent out of your backyard there. And it looks as if you've been neglecting the leave duty in your backyard there. You should call Hoop. He's got this crazy ass machine that like sucks them up like no tomorrow that I saw. Maybe I think it's called the Beast or something like that. But I was thinking, man, maybe you ought to get Hoop's little machine down there and take care of them leaves for you before it becomes a mess.
Yeah. So I saw that response, and I've got a couple of things to say about that. One, I have a landscaper, and every day last week, because we knew we were having people over for the game, my wife's like, and the landscaper's name is Charlie. I said, oh, did Charlie come? No, Charlie didn't come. Oh, where's Charlie? Oh my God. So finally, like, this is Thursday morning, maybe. I said, you could text him. You could text him and tell him you'd like him to come over. And she goes, why do you think I've been saying this every day? I want you to do it. And I'm like, okay. So I didn't do that, but we have a leaf blower. And I was most concerned with the area on the patio. So it took me 45 minutes because there's some pretty heavy leaf coverage, as you saw. And really, that's all I needed, because then the landscaper will come and clean away the rest of it. I just needed the surface area where we were going to be hanging out. And, yeah.
How rich, you guys. I mean, Uncle T, does anybody come over your house and do your leaves, Charlie? Does Charlie come over your house?
The funny part is I was out in the yard for 2.5 hours doing my leaves yesterday. I don't have rich parents. I'm not rich. So I don't have a landscaper. I don't have a maid. I don't have a nanny. I don't have any of that stuff that the rich people do. So I have no idea what JT's even talking about right now, because I was out there for 2.5 hours slaving away and got an awful lot of leaves up. JT just sits there on his ass, researches his DFS, and gets his own guy to do it. That's unbelievable, JT. I'm very impressed. I'm very jealous.
Time is valuable. Number one, time is valuable. I don't have time. I don't know how you or Hoop or anyone has time to go play with the leaves. Baseball season's over. As you guys know, that means it's push-up season. I have gym workouts to attend to. I've got my day job. I've got other things going on. I don't have time for that. So that's why. All I had was a half hour on Saturday to get some of the leaves up. And then the rest of the time, it's somebody else's job.
Can we talk football now?
I made it. I had a real bad 1v1 last night. I could have showed.
What happened?
I was 3 points off the winner, and it was the difference between Bolden and Buffalo's D. And I did contemplate it because I was talking to Big T, and yeah, I had 5 of the 6. I had Buffalo's D, so I ended up the 3 points behind the winner. So a little disappointed. I ended up winning pretty good, but it could have definitely been up in there tied for however many people had that that lineup. So yeah, a little disappointing, but hey, Showdowns definitely are volatile, right, JT?
It is volatile. Last night it was interesting because there's several people. I think Teddy Bruschi put out a tweet that coaching matters, and McDermott was pretty upset after the game. But I don't think there's any question that he came up with one of the shittiest game plans that you could have against a Patriots team in that weather. I mean, the deep throws, the continuous deep throws to Diggs that were going sideways left and right. I mean, right in one of the first possessions of the game, they punt the ball. It goes 20 yards in the air and takes a hard right onto the sideline. So you had to know, if you didn't before the game right then, that weather was a factor. But I mean, Titans 2 weeks ago gashed the Patriots for something like 200 and some yards on the ground with 2 guys who are out of the NFL. I think one of them's a rookie. One has been around on every team. So they didn't run the ball enough. And then the place where the Patriots have been beaten by wide receivers is in the slot. So I played a lot of Cole Beasley thinking we were going to get rational coaching, and we did not. He was throwing outs to Manny Sanders, the deep throws to Diggs. Buffalo deserved to lose that game.
I will say that Showdown has been more profitable than the week-to-week NFL for me this year in DFS. Actually, it has been an extraordinarily exceptional product. I mean, at the rate that I hit on that, and I know it's you guys too. It's like all of us. And Tony really is. I mean, he's right there as the best Showdown player out there, right? I mean, we got Whistle that comes on. He's right there. There's a handful of guys. Tony's one of them. And we're getting his core. And then, you start messing around and you do your own thing. Hoop does the cash. Rubio, JSU, K-Phallic do things. You guys do things, right? Then you guys have the Showdown cores. Uncle T, you've done some Showdown stuff, haven't you?
No, I haven't been on the Showdown core stuff as much. Only when they need a fill in or whatever. But those guys they do a great job. And even on Sunday night with Mangone and Bobby Gomes and Rubio that come on, and then I think Big T joins them about halfway through the show. Those guys do a great job of breaking down those one game slates. So, and I agree with you, Holden. I'm not sure about these guys, but I'm with you. My Sunday main slate has not been great this year in the NFL for me. I'll be honest, but my Showdowns have really made up for it, which is nice. So
I hear you.
Yeah. I haven't been playing the Showdowns. I started to do it again last night, and it was a little bit off, but I didn't lose that much. It was weird. It was to your point about the Sunday main slate. Sunday main slate, you go sideways on like 2 plays, and you're coming back with almost nothing. Last night I went sideways, just 1 play really, and I only lost like a couple $100. So it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
That's just one less time your landscaper's got to come over and get them leaves cleaned up. Then if you lost a couple $100,
it's not, because that's certainly what I can afford to lose there. Uncle T, thank you for your concern.
I'm just looking out for you, buddy.
I appreciate that.
So I think Tony's on a heater on Showdown, and I will let people know. RPS Heater 25, 25% off your first monthly payment, first monthly installment. 25% off with the code RPS Heater 25. You get the Showdown site with the sports site. Then you can add the bets, get bets for like $20. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It's the best deal in the industry. Now let's do some football. All right, Uncle T, let's start with you. We'll get to this slate. Big slate. No Jonathan Taylor this week. They're on bye. I guess in a couple of big games, Tampa Bay and Buffalo. That'll be a very interesting game, at least to me. I think Kansas City's offense, the Raiders, that they can absolutely light up Las Vegas again. And this Dallas-Washington game is kind of interesting to me too. But let's start at quarterback. Who's on your list?
Yeah, last week I talked about on this show, and then I had the Gems article through the week on the Tampa Bay game, Tampa Bay and Atlanta. And obviously a couple weeks ago we had Fournette obviously go off, and I thought, again, they're going to let Brady, kind of do the Brady thing again. And again, he put up great numbers last week. I don't like him as much this week. I'm probably going to side back on the side of maybe Fournette if I take anyone from that game. So from a quarterback standpoint, I go down the board a little bit, guys. I mean, obviously you can never go wrong with Mahomes or Allen or even Lamar up top. Kind of like starting my quarterback pool with Justin Herbert, sitting down there at 7,100 at home in a nice matchup against the Giants. It looked real good this week in Cincinnati here when they knocked off my Bengals. So don't mind Herbert as a starting point, but really interested in the Dallas-Washington game with both sides of that, with Prescott and with Heineke in that game. I think it'll probably be a popular game, with a higher total. But I really like that matchup as well. And then if you go down the board just a little bit, Taysom Hill at 5.6K against the Jets, I just think he's mispriced. And, Heineke's there at 5.5, which I did say I liked a little bit. So I probably won't have them both in my player pool. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't think I will. But Taysom Hill at 5.6K against the Jets, I think they could have priced him up a little bit, knowing that, that he was going to be the starter. Obviously, they knew it this time coming into the week. I thought he should have been priced up a little bit. So those are a few guys I like. I'll let these guys get in.
Let's let G-Rizen go next. We haven't heard from him in a little bit. Hello, G-Rizen. Who you like a quarterback?
I mean, as Uncle T mentioned, I think Prescott's in a good spot. Washington's last against the quarterback so far. So I think that game has potential to have high scoring. And normally I stay away from them division games, but I think that one there will be decent. But Tom Brady, I think, is in a decent spot here. I know, you look at the numbers, and Buffalo has looked pretty scary recently, but they lost their best corner. So I think that's really hurting them. But I think Lamar Jackson's in a really good spot, too, against Cleveland. He's just been taking over for that team. That team's had so many injuries. I think he's just a guy here that's in a good spot. But I agree with Uncle T, especially on DK with that cheap price on Taysom Hill. I mean, you don't need to get much to get value out of him. But, yeah, I don't see anybody this week that I'm just looking at saying, oh, man, like this is the guy I think has to play, because it's just a huge smash spot. We start getting later in the season. We're going to have to watch weather and everything else, especially what we saw yesterday. I mean, that was like them playing in a snow globe.
It was awesome. I love weather games like that because you don't get too many of them. When we get heavy snow, we get freaky weather like that. Downpours are just like monsoons. Seen that I think it was Kansas City on Monday Night Football years and years ago. Derek Thomas was still playing. It was just slipping all over the place. There was like standing water on the field. It was amazing. All right, JT, quarterback.
I agree with the Taysom take. I mean, I think Big T was the first guy on this Sunday morning playing Gardner Minshew against the Jets. The Jets, the worst defense in the NFL. A little concerning. I think Deontay Harris, he's been suspended. I don't know if his appeal will – number one, I don't know if he will appeal and if that appeal will be able to allow him to play. So concern there. Be great if he got Alvin Kamara back. And then, the rest of it, everyone seems to be priced appropriately. I looked at a Russell Wilson stack, but Seattle just doesn't want to throw the ball. They've got these 4 running backs that they want to swap around. But on the other side, I mean, Davis Mills picked apart the Patriots defense at home in like week 4 or 5. Davis Mills is 5K. So I don't know if I'll go there, but it's something that I looked at today. And then the Niners go into Cincinnati after a loss in Seattle. But Joe Burrow's price, if he's healthy, Joe Burrow's price all the way down to 6K. Mixon will be questionable. He'll be questionable too going in there. And then a guy I haven't played since like week 3, and I've sworn this team off. But as bad as the Panthers have been, I don't know. I don't think I can play Matt Ryan, but Matt Ryan at just 5'3". Sad story there. He's not getting any of his weapons back. So, but Russell Gage had a big day. Russell Gage, a big day against the Bucs on Sunday. that's going to change throughout the week because, like I said, pricing doesn't appeal to me now, but I'm sure things will change throughout the week.
I am going to recommend early in the week, Justin Herbert. He has been throwing a lot the last 3 weeks. They trailed in that Denver game. They had a big lead, and they almost squandered it against Cincinnati. He still threw the ball 35 times. His floor is 300 yards, I think, and then at least 2 touchdowns. The problem is he's going to throw a pick, but he also didn't run last week, which is a little bit surprising because he had, 14, 22, 90, 36. I mean, he was getting you 2 to 3 points on the ground. They go up against the Giants this week. So we got to check the weather there, but I think Justin Herbert, and here's another thing that has to pass the test is Keenan Allen, because I think
wait a minute.
The COVID
Not to
thing.
cut you off there, Holden, but interrupting news. Big T, you're on the Wishbone with everybody. Say hi.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Did these guys not understand? Did they not look at the schedule?
We don't put this on the
We already had
schedule.
JSU
Oh, I did not
for
text
Holden,
me.
so I had to put you on with me. So go ahead, say hi to the boys. He hung up. Sorry, guys. Hey, it was like timing. I had to do it. I just had to do it to you.
He
That's
just hung
great.
up on you.
Yeah, he did too. He got cold feet, boys.
Let's do the running back position. Since you're on fire right now, G-Rizen, why don't you just go with it? Just run with it.
So you guys want to talk some running back? I mean, there's a lot of running backs next week, actually. I think there's a lot of them in pretty decent spots. Javonte Williams, I don't know how much Melvin Gordon's going to get, but, man, that kid looked really good. Now he gets a pretty shitty Lions team. Sign me up for that. Alexander Madison against the Steelers, they struggle against the run. I think that's a pretty good spot. Najee Harris on the other side of that game, I think, is also another spot. And you guys mentioned how bad Carolina's been. I mean, Cordell Patterson, every time I look up on a Sunday, the dude's running down the sideline with the football. So I don't mind him either. And then if Kamara comes back, I mean, obviously the Jets suck. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of running backs in good spots. But I did hear Chubb and Hunt might actually share the backfield this week for the first time. So I think that takes a little bit of that out. But Eckler's always a strong play if you talk about wanting to pair him with Herbert. I think the Giants are really, really poor all around as a team. But, yeah, definitely an interesting week for running back. Lots of options, I'd say.
What do you got for us, JT Hayes?
Yeah, the Charger game is in Los Angeles, and it's going to be either Mike Glennon or Jake Fromm at quarterback for the Giants. So it's really, really tough to see that being a competitive game. Really tough to see Justin Herbert getting to his ceiling there. Eckler, I guess, would be my guy, but I'm going to start with Leonard Fournette. Fournette got another touchdown this week against Atlanta, and people should go back and look at the amount of points that the Bills have given up to running backs, even when it's not Jonathan Taylor, over the course of the last month, 6 weeks. And, you watched the game last night. It was Harris and Stevenson, and I think you're going to see a lot of Lenny Fournette this week. Cordell Patterson been involved heavily in the Falcons game plan. Price came down a little bit, just 6'9". Dontrell Hilliard for the Titans going up against the Jaguars. Looked good in that game against the Patriots. Guy who got into the box this Sunday, who I haven't played in at least 3 seasons, Devonta Freeman for the Ravens. Looks like he's getting 1 through 3 down work. And then I'll end with G-Rizen talked about Javonte Williams. Definitely a great play. If Gordon is out again, maybe even if he's in, Josh Jacobs against the Kansas City defense that Javonte Williams just tore up.
I like it.
And with Jacobs, keep in mind.
Gordon is practicing.
What's that?
Gordon is expected to practice, I should say.
Yes, that's a situation to watch because if you don't want to pay $5.9 for him, if they're going to split the workload there. But Jacobs more interesting too because Kenyon Drake is out for the year.
Did you bring up Josh Jacobs because of the story from BSO about him having 8 children with 8 different women and a 9th on the way?
No, I brought him up because he's 6.2 against one of the worst rushing defenses on the slate. But you can share some color and context for the people about things that they might want to know about.
Well, Uncle T's got to leave. So if you remind me before the show ends, I will. If you don't, we'll all move on.
No, we need to hear it now. So we'll get Uncle T's takes because
he's
he
definitely
does have another engagement.
You know what? Uncle T, give us the rest of your picks. Wide receiver, tight end.
Well, right now, the more important thing, I didn't hear a word G-Rizen or JT just said with the the running back situation. So, but JT, you're shaking your head, but you didn't let me finish. I'm trying to make sure G-Rizen is still on the payroll. I'm trying to find out what happened with this phone call, and I can't confirm whether or not that was his phone call, like not a good phone call, if you know what I mean. Like, I didn't know if he was getting his pink slip or if he was getting a raise, or, I'm trying to verify for my friend. You know what I mean?
Can't fire him. He's with the Woodward Sports.
All I know is I said, is he getting a raise or a pink slip? And I haven't gotten a response back. So
we're going to Miami together. There's a raise going down. We're going. I
said
Miami.
raise first, and then I said raise or a pink slip. So
we're talking about how many people we're going to peel on the beach playing cornhole. That's what we're talking about.
All right. So, like I said, I apologize. I wasn't paying too much attention. I normally do, so I apologize. If you're paying up, I do like Austin Eckler if he's in. But going down the list, I do like that mid-range quite a bit. I think one of you guys, I heard Jacobs. I really like Josh Jacobs, obviously, with Kenyon Drake out for the year. JT's laughing because I'm already probably repeating what one of you guys said. So I do like Josh Jacobs in that matchup against the Chiefs. Also like Saquon Barkley. My favorite guy, though, is probably, and I don't think you said this, Antonio Gibson. I think this guy's too cheap this week. I know Dallas does a pretty decent job against the rush, but if you look at Antonio Gibson the last 4 weeks, 24 carries, 19, 29, 23. In the last couple of weeks, even though they haven't been for many yards, 5 catches, 7 catches. You look at it, 12 catches out of the backfield. And I'm not saying he's ever going to, put up monster numbers in the passing game, but with McKissick hurt, it just feels like that's a really cheap price tag on Antonio Gibson. So I really like him quite a bit. And then as you go down the board, you guys both mentioned, I think, Javonte Williams. I don't mind that either. So that's kind of where I'm at, guys.
Do you want to go through the other positions?
Yeah. Receivers, I like if you're paying I don't like going all the way up top this week. I like starting in that low 7K range. CD Lamb, Terry McLaurin. Now, full disclosure, I had a blow up in my own little thought process on Terry McLaurin on Sunday because my best stack on Sunday had a Terry McLaurin. I think I had McLaurin and one of the Raiders. I think I might have McLaurin, Renfro, and San Fran's defense as my 3 late guys. And McLaurin just didn't get there for me for like the 73rd straight time I've played him. So I'm a little upset with him, but I'm going to come right back with him. That's how DFS works. I like Lamb and McLaurin in that game. Going down the board a little bit, T. Higgins has been on quite a run with Joe Burrow. Don't mind that matchup against the Niners. I think that game will be there'll be some points scored in that game on both sides, I believe. DJ Moore in a matchup against JT's Atlanta Falcons. DJ Moore is in a pretty good spot there. Mike Williams against the Giants, and the last guy I got is Elijah Moore against the Saints. So those were the 6 guys I had written down. And then quickly on tight end, George Kettle, he's been back for 5 weeks. 4 of them have been really, really good. 6,900 feels like he's starting to get back up there in price with where the Kelsey, price tag's been, but draws a good matchup here against Cincinnati. I like him. Going down a little bit, Dawson Knox in the matchup against Tampa Bay at 5K. And if you're going cheaper, I got 2 cheap guys. Ingram at 3,500 against the Chargers. And then with Logan Thomas out now probably it looks like for the season for Washington, Bates at 3K against Dallas. I don't mind him.
Well, thank you, Uncle T. Thank you very much for your input today.
I don't know if you're being sincere or not.
Very sincere.
Thank you.
I am.
You're welcome.
You've got some high school sports to call tonight.
I'm on game 3 of 9 games and 15 days to start the season. So yeah, I've got 8 games here, or 6 more games coming up in 11 days.
It's fun.
So it is what it is, Holden. I got to pay the bills, right?
I'm sure that's the gig that just puts you over the top.
I actually don't get paid, so
Yeah,
it's
it
not
doesn't
really that reason.
surprise me.
So.
Doesn't
All right, I
surprise
got to
me.
go, boys. Thanks.
Bye,
Hey, good
Uncle
luck to
T.
everybody this week.
Yeah.
All right. So, JT Hayes and or G-Rizen, would you like to hear the Josh Jacobs story, or would you like to talk about the wide receiver position?
I mean, we're all in for the Josh Jacobs story. We've been sitting here waiting patiently while Uncle
right.
T did his duties
here we
through
go.
the Wishbone.
Headline, okay? Raiders running back Josh Jacobs allegedly has 8 kids with 8 different women with a 9th baby on the way. That's interesting. That's pretty good.
That poor man.
Yes.
Dealing with 8 different women with 8 different kids. I mean, that there is just
Well,
wow.
Here's why we have to keep our ears up, but he probably, not probably, he allegedly does have quite a few. Wags Unfiltered 2.0 has 9 women, 8 women that have said they have been impregnated by Josh Jacobs. This is allegedly, of course. Apparently, you can just, I guess, sleep with athletes. You can sleep with athletes and post it on a message board that you're having this person's child. Some fucked up shit going on.
Are you slut shaming Josh Jacobs?
No, I'm proud of him, actually. My problem is that he's going to have a lot of child support and he's going to have to pay for a long time because that dude, if this is true, he's going to be broke. Like, you can't pay that off.
No, that's
not good.
I feel for the guy.
Him?
I feel for the guy because that's.
I mean, condoms suck. I get it, JT, but you know,
there are other things you could do, Holden. I mean,
you know, 9 kids, 8 kids though, allegedly, not good, not good. Antonio Cromartie, there's no shaming though. I mean, the guy. Listen, if you're a professional athlete, women are just throwing themselves at you. So how do you say no all the time?
Yeah. I
Why
mean,
would you?
some level of self-discipline is usually optimal for the rest of your life and your well-being. I mean, this just doesn't seem accidental, right? I mean, it's like just doesn't even care.
So he's just hammering, trying to get another. Like he's just going for it, and whenever he's done, he's done. And
you guys are being so judgmental. Maybe
I'm not being judgmental.
We're not being judgmental.
Hey, maybe his hero's Will Chamberlain, and maybe he has a bet with the Wilts, and maybe he wants to try to beat the Wilts record. And you guys here are trying to ruin the man's efforts.
Wilt didn't have a record for the amount of children he had with different women.
So let's just put some things together. He probably got some ass in high school. He went to Alabama, so he probably there's a couple of hundred women at Alabama, right? Then minimum, let's say 200. First year of the NFL, price cycling, another the guy's been with at least, allegedly, 400 women. So really, if you do the math and only 8 got through, that's not a bad ratio.
I mean, that's a different way of looking at it, of course.
Yeah, but just because the amount of women doesn't say the amount of times you could. I mean, you could still have a woman that, I mean, come on, that's not a good argument.
Well, it wasn't just.
We'd all have 8 damn kids. I'm sure we've all got it on more than 400 times in our day. I mean, we all
no, 400 different women, not 400 times.
What is the difference if it's different women or the same woman, right?
Well, clearly he's not.
It matters a lot.
I guess if one was pregnant, one would be out of commission.
No, I mean, if you have to pay child support to one woman, that's bad. But if you have to pay it to 8, that's really bad.
Yeah, but that's what's interesting is there's no repeat offenders in the list, right? I mean, there's no one where there's 2 children. Like, I mean, I don't know. I guess he just likes variety.
That's something to say about him. I mean, nobody came back. It's like Brian Kelly that we were making fun of. You guys realize not one coach went with him over there to LSU. That does say a lot. But anyway, yeah, I mean, hey, Josh Jacobs, he lives in Vegas too. I mean, imagine the.
Oh God,
you're right.
And another 100. Well, we had COVID, so maybe 75. But you also have to take account for group sex, which, I mean, who knows, right? Who knows how to quantify that, G-Rizen? Would we like to get to wide receiver? And also, it's entirely possible that these 8 women just are this gang of crazy women that want to bring a man down. That's possible. Every bit is possible.
They could all be the housewives on the street he lives on.
Who knows? Who knows? He could have pissed him off. Maybe his dog took a piss in their yard. They're not happy, right? And all these women are very good looking, by the way. Very good looking.
I'm more likely to believe that the 44 masseuses that went after Deshaun Watson were a gang trying to take somebody down than I am just the fact that he's got nine children from 9 different women. That seems egregious. I don't know. That seems a little too much.
I mean, imagine if you're the politicians in the Las Vegas area, you fought off the football teams, the professional teams coming to your city for years. Yeah. And then here comes the Raiders in town. They've already had deaths. They've had John Gruden get fired for racial comments. They got this guy with 8 kids. I mean, man, what a nightmare.
Here's my question. What's worse? Like Antonio Cromartie, 12 children with 8 women, or Phillip Rivers, like 11 kids with 1 woman? What is, because you've actually planned to have 11 kids, whereas opposed to, that's premeditated children, as opposed to, going in there and just, we'll see what happens. If she gets knocked up, that's fine. I'll pay a couple bucks here. What's worse, guys? The Phillip Rivers side of the world, where he's planning to do this to the world, or Antonio Cromartie and allegedly Josh Jacobs?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say one is worse. I would say they're both excessive. I don't know. But again, different tastes. Rivers is super religious and good for them, I guess, to want to multiply in that number.
Yep.
So there you go.
Muhammad Ali had 9 children with 5 women. I'm just learning about all this right now. It's fascinating.
Are you
Travis
trying to tell
Henry.
us something? Are you trying to tell us something?
Do you remember Travis Henry?
Researching all these women. Are you trying to figure out where you fit in the
Yeah, I know. Trust me, dude.
Did you get a few bad phone calls?
It has always scared the shit out of me that there might be something out there, and but I think I'm in the clear. I really do, but it's a little worrisome. There was something. Here. Do you guys remember Travis Henry? He was a running back. He was with the Bills and the Titans. I think he played Denver for a little bit. He had 11 kids with 10 women. That's pretty good. If this is true again, Jacobs is climbing up there. And then Cromartie had 12 kids with 8 women. Really not. I almost feel like that's not nearly as impressive as what some of these other, like Travis Henry, 11 with 10. Only 6 women. Just seems like he actually planned some, and it's not as impressive.
Here's what's impressive about Antonio Cromartie, and to a degree, I guess, about Josh Jacobs, because I didn't know about this before today, before you mentioned it. Just another glimmer of the way that you enhance my life, Holden, is by giving me these types of informational nuggets. But you didn't hear about Antonio Cromartie's women going after him and saying he was a bad dude or all this stuff. And you haven't heard about that with Josh Jacobs, right? So
good guys.
What?
Good guys. They're good guys.
There are other players that are apparently not so good guys. I mean, or there's a mental health issue one way or the other. When you see the stories about Evander Kane's estranged wife, I mean, that's, you could be hearing that. I would rather have the Cromartie and Jacob stories where they just like to fuck.
And there's nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, I'm here. If you search Antonio Cromartie kids, stats, vasectomy, that's the top 3.
Yeah, well, at some point, either you or a court is going to make that decision for you. Knock you out over the head and haul you into a hospital.
G-Rizen, would you like to discuss wide receiver?
Surely. I mean, we're going from one side to crazy.
Different type of wide receiver.
Yeah. But at what or should we go right to tight end? Anyway, I mean, how good's Justin Jefferson been lately? I mean, that dude is a flat out stud. I mean, we'll see. especially now without Thielen, or how much are they going to have to go to him is a question. And Pittsburgh's not been very good against wide receivers, 24th in the league. And then I like Deontay Johnson on the other side of that ball. I think that's interesting too. Is that even on the main slate? But
I was going to ask if you were going to captain Jefferson in Showdown.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that one even on the main slate? I realized I had my page on the wrong damn thing here, but I was thinking, man, that's the same game. But anyway, but yeah, I do like Deontay Johnson. He won me some money last week. I think that's why I'm excited. But anyway, I mean, CeeDee Lamb, like Uncle T mentioned, is really interesting. I think he's a guy you got to look at. He already mentioned Mclaren, that game. I mean, both those teams have been pretty poor against wide receivers. Mike Williams is interesting against the Giants. I think a lot of people are going to look at Allen possibly, but I think he's a decent play. Ayuk without Deebo Samuel is another interesting guy that I thought they'd go to a little bit more, but they didn't so last week. And then Elijah Moore has quietly been putting up a pretty decent season for the Jets, so I don't mind him in a game that we might want some players on the other side to stack up. So I don't mind Elijah Moore. He seems to be the guy they look to in the red zone too. So, JT mentioned Russell Wilson and maybe the Seattle stack. I mean, these receivers are projecting pretty well, but man, it's just, you watch the eye test. It's just, it hurts your eyes to watch them on offense. So, yeah, I think that's interesting, but I think you could get those guys pretty low owned. I think they do have some pretty high upside, especially a guy like Lockett.
I'm looking at Godwin again, and I'm asking you guys, what the fuck? I mean, this guy's getting 15 catches. So 15 catches on 17 targets. And yeah, I mean, that was excessive and everything, but every game he's just getting peppered by the best quarterback in the game. JT Hayes, can I interest you in some Godwin this week, or was it last week and we'll go somewhere else?
Yeah, you got to remember that was the Falcons and their pass funnel, aka zero cover defense. But something to keep in mind this week, again, it becomes tough because you want to say, well, man, then I should really play DJ Moore, who Uncle T mentioned, but then you realize that he's got Cam Newton throwing him the ball, right? So it just becomes a difficult spot to pick up. I'm going to lean on Fournette this week. I think that the way that you attack the Bills, the way the teams have had success is on the ground. I'm not saying that you can't play Godwin, because both he and Evans and Gronk, for that matter, are just great individual talents, but pricing is up there a little bit, and we'll see. We'll see if we get there. I don't know what to do with that game yet. Got to figure that out. I'm sure it's going to be good weather, so it's going to be the exact opposite of what the Bills played in last night. You talked about G-Rizen to Terry McLaurin. You and I, Holden, were locked on that play. Was locked in on Terry. And same thing happened with McLaurin that happened with another guy that I loved, which was Eli Mitchell. And in Eli Mitchell's case, instead of him getting more work because Deebo Samuel was out, it was George Kittle. In the case of McLaurin, I just looked it up quickly because I wanted to go back and watch. He only got 5 targets, and I think it's because they went much more to Antonio Gibson. With J.D. McKissick being out, Gibson picked up a lot of the work there. I've read some things this week about Travion Diggs for the Cowboys. A lot of interceptions, but also there's this suggestion that he's giving up a bunch of yards per play to opposing wide receivers. Have to believe that he'll be the guy covering McLaurin. I don't know how I feel about it. That is the one total, interestingly enough, that is the one total that's gone up. It's only gone up a point. But the Dallas-Washington game, since open, all the other games came way down. That Giants-Charger game, I think it dropped 5 or 6 points. So probably on the news that Jake Fromm may be getting his first NFL start. But the Seattle thing, I just think Seattle's bad. I know they won against the Niners and they looked really good, but they haven't looked good on the road. The week before this, they lost on the road in Washington, but that stack is very cheap. Russ to Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, which I don't think you should do both. Seems like DK is not on the same page, but that's pretty cheap. That's around $20K for the 3 of them, $14K for 2 of them. In that game, I like Brandon Cooks as a bring back. He did pretty well with Davis Mills under center. Mill's not a threat with the legs. And I again, early in the week, like him at 5K. The situation to watch is the situation with the Titans because Julio Jones was cleared to return to practice. Julio Jones is now, I think we can all agree, at a point in his career where he's not going to be a guy that's going to flash that upside that we saw with the Falcons. But they take on the Jaguars, and he's just 5'4". If he suits up, he's got to be the wide receiver 1 in that matchup. Tyreek is priced way up, but a good matchup. And then I think it's tough to do as bad as Teddy Bridgewater has looked. But Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton at 5'6" and 5'3", respectively, on DraftKings against the Detroit Lions defense, which, G-Rizen, you tell me, I think it's going to be a letdown game for the Lions, right? I think they're going to get stomped in Denver.
Actually, they've been doing well against the spread. They're 8-4 against the spread, but they're hanging in games. But yeah, obviously the real wins are not coming.
Yeah, I think they'll regress back. Ayuk didn't get the looks you mentioned last week, 5'8". And then the interesting thing about the Bengals here, Jamar Chase's price now down under 7K again, finally. A lot of stories about, he's frustrated, this and that. He's 6'9" in a neutral matchup if the Bengals O-line can get Burrow the time if Burrow suits up.
Who were we on together last week? Stafford,
which Stafford was fine. Honestly, Stafford just got a little bit unlucky in that Sony Michel did get every single piece of the work, but also Holden 295 yards passing. He throws one more pass and he gets you to 28.5.
All right.
DK points. So just an unlucky. And then George Kittle breaks the slate. Again, just making those pivots to guys that I thought were going to get more of a bump, and then it was someone else.
The guy I gave out on the premium show was Deontay Johnson, and he saved my ass.
Yeah.
It was Stafford, Van Jefferson, McLaurin.
Yep.
McLaurin.
I was not on Van. I was on Kupp.
Yeah.
Kupp, another situation where he needed to get another touchdown. That's sort of what he needed at his price.
Yep. So that's what happened last week, but we're on to next week. G-Rizen, wide receiver, you got anything for us? Unless I already went to you. I think I went to you first, didn't I? Or no?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. We're on tight end now.
Now I remember. We're on tight end, huh? Are you excited about it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, hold your excitement for a moment because I'm going to let JT Hayes go first this time. The Foster Moreau experiment, 2,700. What do you get you, like 3-something points? I don't know how much that was really going to help you. I'm hoping that Dawson Knox can bounce back and catch a pass or two this week. Can you start with Gronk, though? JT Hayes, like at this point, Fournette and Gronk, I'm not saying they're locks. Do you remember a couple years ago when we played FanDuel and we just lock in like Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown every single week and just win every single week? I wish we had that again. But two guys on the same team, Gronk and Fournette. What do you think of Gronk?
Yeah, there was a period there where it was Christian McCaffrey, too. You played him every week before the injuries, his first couple of seasons with Cam. Gronk at 6K, again, I'll go back to the matchup. Coming off of matchups against the Colts, who, concede a lot through the air, and the Falcons who concede, you can do anything you want through the air against the Falcons. The Bills are not that team. Even now, again, here's the interesting thing about that matchup. We're going to see the Bills for the first time in regular weather without Tre'Davious White. So I don't think last night we could tell how much of an impact that has because you couldn't throw and, the Patriots attempted 3 passes. So early in the week, Gronk is in play at 6K. Still, though, he's not going to get 2 touchdowns every week, right? I mean, the team, I don't think there's any question the team can put up points, though. So even against the Bills. So it'll be interesting. Kelsey up at 7-4 is, he hasn't shown the upside for that price since maybe week 2 or 3 in the season. Maybe the last time they played the Raiders, right? So their offense seems to be moving a little bit more slowly. But I don't have a good feel on tight end right now. There's a lot of injuries to come. The Giants game there, Jared Cook for the Chargers is just 3-2. I played a lot of CJ Uzoma last week just because of the way that the numbers worked out and his salary. And it didn't work out so well, but his price went down a little bit now, $3K flat against the Niners. This has been a very volatile position for me, tight end. If you didn't land on Kittle or Goddard this last week, it was a tough sled.
Is Kelsey just at this point, is it matchup dependent? What is it with Kelsey? Because he's 7'4". He used to be a wide receiver 1. And then this year we haven't been seeing it as consistently. And the Broncos completely took him and Tyreek out of the game. He had 3 catches for 27 yards.
Yeah, I don't. So you brought up this point, and I think the only reason why it didn't work out was because the Redskins went a different direction with giving Antonio Gibson more touches.
Mm-hmm.
But you talked about how, let's just say, dull the Raiders are in terms of how they coach defensively. So I think the point to look at here is, assuming weather is good in Kansas City, this is the matchup that they've dominated. This is the matchup where he, I think, and Tyreek Hill on that Sunday night game did very, very well. This was the last time the Chiefs actually had that kind of juggernaut offense was in this same matchup. So interesting point there.
G-Rizen. Let's do it, baby.
I think Kittle's an interesting spot. I don't know how many people are going to want to pay up for that, but we saw it last week was the first week the tight end really blew up the slate. We hadn't seen that all season. We were able to pay down, and all of a sudden, bam, Kittle wraps out a freaking 30 spot like he did. But, yeah, I like Kittle. I mean, Gronk, like you mentioned, I mean, Buffalo's been pretty tough against the position overall, but, I mean, it's still Tom Brady and Gronk. I mean, Hawkinson's been another guy against Denver. The Lions have been pretty pesky. I think Goff's going to keep going to him. He's his main guy, especially in the red zone. I think his touchdown upside's high. And then Ricky Seals-Jones is a guy I think we can get really cheap because there is going to be no Logan Thomas. So I think you could use a Ricky Seals-Jones in that Dallas and Washington game too if you want to go there. I think he's a guy that you could look at. And, I mean, really everywhere else, I think you're kind of looking at crapshoots. I mean, I don't mind a guy like Mark Andrews against Cleveland. I mean, they're – bottom 2/3 of the league as far as giving up points to the tight end. But for me, I think I might just go right back to Kittle. I mean, just because of how much Deebo Samuel being out of that lineup, I think Kittle is the guy they're going to rely on here. And I mean, to get a receiver, I mean, think about it. If you could get a receiver at 7-1, like he's priced on FanDuel, and you look at some of the receivers that are priced 7-1, I mean, you're looking at like Marquise Browns, Mike Williams, the DJ Moores. Yes, Mclaren 7-1, but I think I'd much rather have Kittle than all of those guys for that price. So to me, I don't mind Kittle at all, especially maybe even in a flex spot. I've seen a couple lineups that are on top of tournaments with double tight ends in recent times. So
this weekend for sure. And the other point is, I don't think you're going to be paying up at running back either. So you definitely should have the salary there.
Anything else you want to discuss before we get out of here? Good.
It's cold in Michigan. How's it over there in Denver? You guys, I saw was it last week? It was like 65 in Denver. I was looking at a game
every day.
How the hell is it 30 in Michigan? It's 65 in Denver.
Every day it was between 60 and 75 degrees for like 2 or 3 weeks. It was awesome. And then 2 nights ago, it went to like 18 degrees in about 2 hours.
Yeah, that's just not good. It's like your body doesn't respond well. And it's like timeout.
Yeah. It's been warm, man. We're just having I like having some snow here, So, I don't mind it at all. All right, guys. Thank you very much for listening.
Enjoy your night off. Enjoy your night off.
Do I have a night off? How did you know my night is off? Oh, yeah. I told you about it.
See, I listen when you speak.
Oh, that's stupid.
Sweet Holden.
You should stop doing that. For JT Hayes, for G-Rizen, my name's Holden. Simon, please get us out of here.
What is happening? It is a day that ends in Y, which of course means Run Pure Sports viewers are shipping on a Showdown slate. Last Thursday, DFS superstar Whistles Go Roo joined JSU and BigT on the Thursday Night Football Showdown show to talk about the slate, and he hit the nail on the head with a killer hot take.
I love the play of Taysom as captain, but put Dallas's defense also there. And I know that seems kind of crazy, and most people would think, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. But can't you imagine one running touchdown, one throwing touchdown, but then a pick six for Dallas tonight?
His recommendation to pair Taysom Hill with the Dallas defense, along with JSU and Big T's call to pair him with Deontay Harris, was the winning formula to ship Showdown tournaments.
I remember tons of slates where the studs like Kamara, Michael Thomas, he just wouldn't get them as involved, and some of the lesser guys he would pepper, and one of them was always Deontay Harris.
If you couldn't tell, our hosts have been on fire recently with some great calls on our premium content as well as Discord, including Holden, who has been pounding the table with Matt Breida on Thanksgiving, as well as recent Eli Mitchell and Jalen Waddle on our Up to Lock show on Sundays.
Higgy, what do you think of Elijah Mitchell? I mean, personally, he's right at the top for me. I've got a couple lineups with Elijah Mitchell. When he plays, he gets the rock.
NBA is firing on all cylinders as well, with Bobby recommending a 1% owned 40 burger for Santi Aldama on our final countdown show Thursday night.
Is there a guy named Santi really in Bobby Gomes' core from You Better Relax, Bro?
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad play. If he sees 17 minutes, they're kind of hurt. He's 0.94 fantasy point per minute play. He's a power forward. It's more of a large field thing.
Congratulations to all of our members on their huge wins, including E. Cunningham with his 560K hit on NFL Showdown, and Matt Ryan 858 with his 100K shipper on NBA. And huge shout out to our guy Tambo for coming in second place in DraftKings King of the Beach tournament. Tambo shipped 150K in week 13 with his Gardner Minshew lineup, so big congrats to him. If you are not subscribed yet, what in the heck are you doing? Join today with 25% off your first month with the promo code RPSHeater25. Make sure you check back soon for a huge announcement, and of course, run pure.